Hi friends and welcome. Today we are here to start season 3 of Angel. We are watching season 3, episode 1. So basically it's been a whole month since I saw the season 2 finale. So the buildup of finally getting to continue, especially given that cliffhanger is really huge, and I'm just so excited that I can finally sit down here and watch. And, at this other, the other side of things is that I'm also really nervous about it because I'd say that was a pretty big cliffhanger. It feels like we're gonna have to talk about Buffy to some extent. So I'm quite nervous about that. But before we even head into those predictions and before we head into the reaction, I did just want to come here and sort of give a heads up, which is that ever since I started reacting to Buffy, I tried to be pretty upfront about the fact that I had seen the later seasons of Angel, and I obviously knew some spoilers because of that. And I kind of just wanted to come back here and say that yes, we have reached the later seasons of Angel. I have watched seasons 3 to 5 in their entirety, I believe. But here's the thing, I don't really remember them. And I apologize, but I was honestly just watching it for Amy Acker, so as always, any complaints about my weird watch order can be directed to Amy Acker. This is not my fault. Long story short, I think I have decided to watch seasons 3 to 5 of Angel, at least for now. Eventually if the interest really declines and stuff, maybe I'll just watch it on my own. And, maybe I'll do big episodes like crossovers or something, which this kind of feels like it has to be, right? I think this has to be some sort of crossover episode. But I do want to urge you to be careful that, if you haven't seen until the end of Angel, maybe it's still not the best decision to watch my videos because I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth until it does. Okay, so let's head into predictions. Let's head into the fun part of it all. If I were to consider the Buffy fashion, I think it would make sense if we started this episode exactly where the last one ended. So, cut to Willow's absolutely devastated face. How can we talk about Angel right now when Buffandra is deceased? Again, this is from my previous memory of Angel. I was not really impacted. I didn't know I knew that Buffy existed because I had heard her name, of course. I know the show. But, it didn't hit me emotionally. I was like, oh, okay, Buffy died. Cool. Where's Fred? So what I do think, and that is that Angel is going to leave the show just for a few episodes. Obviously he's not going to leave Angel. I think Angel might not be here, and I think he might be on the Buffy episodes instead. Angel wouldn't simply be able to look at Willow and be like, oh, she's dead. Okay, good luck, sweetie. Obviously he's going to have to be involved in this. He still loves her very much. We're not going to talk about it, but yes. And so I know that he's going to have to be involved in bringing her back. So yeah, I think my basic prediction would be that I actually think this episode might not be focused in Buffy at all. I think we might talk about her for the first, second, because I think we're going to start right in the scene with Willow. I think Angel's going to be like, bye guys, have fun in my show without me. And I think he's going to head out for the next 2 to 3 episodes. And then when we start season 1 of Buffy, we're going to start dealing with that. And then by the time that we finish however many episodes of Buffy it is before we can head back into Angel, I think Angel's going to be back whenever we are back to Angel, if that makes sense. I'm excited. I am really hoping that this is not going to be talking about Buffy because I'm not emotionally ready, okay? I already had to be devastated over Brazil losing the World Cup yesterday, and that was already harsh enough for me. So I have reached my sadness quota for the year. So I'm gonna need Angel to not go down a sad route right now. In general, I am just very, very excited to see Fred. I'm not gonna lie, but obviously she's going to shake up the dynamic of the group, and it's gonna be fun to sort of see how that's gonna work out, especially if Angel's not here. I think that would make it even more interesting because obviously the person that she bonded with was sort of Angel. I've talked about this before. He's usually the one who brings people in, so it is going to be interesting to see her having to bond with some other people. I mean, she's talked to Cordelia before, so how about we become best friends? I beg of you. I forgot, but I kind of wanted to read the title before we head into the episode. I don't know why it didn't feel right for me to read the title after watching the finale. It felt like something that needed to be saved. It is called Heartthrob. I'm not even gonna lie and say that it doesn't remind me of Buffy. It does. It does. It reminds me a little bit of Angel. But, honestly, what doesn't? So I'm not going to read into this. Heartthrob, they're dealing with somebody who is having heart problems. Okay, I think those are mostly my predictions. I'm really quite nervous to press play. Full reactions are going to be up on Patreon. Make sure you go check that out. But anyways, okay, I'm going to stop procrastinating. I'm going to press play. Thank you all so much for watching this with me. And let's do it. Willow, I swear to fucking God, if you are here, I am going to literally scream. Please don't be here. I love you. Don't. Hi!
Anyway, some people can find a purpose in life is by becoming obsessed with demons.
I mean, who's got time for love when you're out there doing it with the demons? Didn't that come out sad and wrong? Speaking of, anybody talk to Fred lately?
She's been hibernating up there for 3 months now.
3 months?!
They made you queen.
What?!
Fred was there 5 years.
Good point, but are you kidding me?
She survived. Girl strong.
Girls trading one cave for another.
When Angel comes back...
When is he getting back anyway?
As soon as he works through his grief a little,
Buff?
don't say the B word.
The B word was the love of his life. And he's what, 250? This grief work's gonna take more than a vacation in Sri Lanka.
He needs some peace and quiet to work through this.
He needs Buffy. Oh, oh, okay. Holy shit, that was very cool, man.
Why don't we?
I have many feelings, but I'm gonna watch this intro first because I want to see if Amy Acker is already on it. Ooh, is Lauren gonna be the intro? I don't remember if he is. Give me Amy, give me Amy, give me Amy. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, I gotta pause this. I can't not. Okay, number one, so happy Amy already made it to the intro. I wasn't sure if maybe they were going to like keep her like light in these first 2 episodes before they actually, I don't know, brought her into every episode, but good for her for already having made it to the intro. I wish Amber Benson had the same treatment in Buffy, but it's all good. This did not absolutely go where I expected, because I figured that, I mean, I knew time jump was an option, but I figured that, like, it's kind of harder for us to talk about grief, like, immediately after. So I just because it's Buffy, I was like, I really feel like they're going to lean into, like, absolutely having to see the day after, you know, the tomorrow that Buffy talks about so much in Forever. But I guess it seems like we're leaning down the time jump route. And I don't want to preemptively judge it before I actually watch Buffy and like watch what they're doing, because maybe I'm still gonna like it. But overall, like in general, as a general rule, I'm not a huge fan of flash forwards and in that sense. I'm not in time jumps, yeah, that's the word. And also Angel, I mean, he's not with the squad, okay, but we still saw him, so it means that he's not, because I figured is that Angel was gonna like, you know, go with Willow to Sunnydale and they were going to like, you know, study until they found a way to bring Buffy back. But if he's, where was he, in like Sri Lanka or something? That means he's not with Willow. So now I'm not sure, is Angel just gonna come back to the episode normally? Okay. Okay, so I mean, I guess it makes sense if they're not doing a flash, you know, if they're not continuing it right after, if it's a time jump, then I guess it makes sense that Angel doesn't have to be with Willow because we know that he probably already was there at some point. Okay, sorry, I'm just genuinely kind of taken aback. That's not where I saw this episode going, but okay, let's see, and let's hopefully not talk about the B word.
Whose turn is it to set the traps?
Is.
Aren't you two just the biggest scaries I ever saw?
What? Oh!
You're back.
Welcome home.
It wasn't like a holiday where you'd come back home to your friends, you know, with some small mementos.
Fishing for gifts?
Yes. Oh,
Oh. Why does it have hair?
and look how it brings out my breast. You know you were all thinking it.
Oh my god. I thought he just sliced his hand off.
Hasn't come out of her room yet, huh?
Well, we sent up a lot of tacos.
That's so sweet.
It's really good to see you guys.
I can't believe we just went like just... Cordy, are you seeing right through him, right through his pain, right through the fact that he left for 3 months to get over Buffy? Okay, good. Take my mind off it. Show me Fred. Exactly. Thank you, Angel Writers.
Me, Fred.
Hey, you're... well, hey there.
She's so cute.
Fred, I want to talk to you. I just can't come in unless you...
I invite you. Come in.
Oh.
How are you?
Yeah, good.
What are you listening for?
There's like a click in your brain and you understand things again.
Don't touch her.
You don't have to write absolutely everything down.
God, I should write that down.
Fred.
Coming downstairs and hanging with us for a while. You're safe here in the hotel.
Oh, no. I thought something was gonna jump on him, bro. You can't say stuff like that. Oh, Cordy. Jesus Christ, that's not a great one.
A bunch of vampires. They're killing people.
Oh, please don't cry. This is not okay. Was that Harmony? Why did we have to see Cordelia cry? That's not very fun for us. For me, at least.
We need 2, maybe 3 ambulances.
What are you gonna do? Oh.
Okay. Okay. I forget how cool Angel is, and then we see stuff like that, and it's just like, okay. You're the coolest.
You love her? You or her, what's it gonna be?
Shit.
Her? Take her.
Holy crap! Okay.
Run!
Oi.
And jealous?
Oh fuck. Who'd you just kill? Are we gonna head into flashback territory?
Oh, thank you, Dennis.
That is so nice.
Please.
Wait, I think I might know where this is going.
These visions are killing me.
No. Don't interrupt her piece. Oh, there we go with the flashbacks.
A century. A mere 100 years.
It's our besties.
To name the color of your eyes.
Hi, ma'am.
But take your time. Holtz may not be far behind.
You know neither poetry nor love, Angelus.
He knows other things.
Oh, who cares about Holtz? I say we stay and fight the bastard.
Yeah, but you're an idiot.
Life's full of surprises.
Life is boring. You're full of surprises.
It's not dawdle children.
Oh, there we go. Wow, for a second I actually really thought he was gonna go in there and buy it for her. I'm an idiot.
I'll never take it off.
So I broke the window and I'll break your skulls.
Okay, this man's about to die.
What are you afraid of?
Not us. He's gonna want revenge. If he's still around and if they're still in love.
200 plus years, and the girl's still wearing the locket.
See what our sources can tell us.
Uh-huh. See? We have sources now.
Wow, you're almost like real detectives.
Hey.
It's sick. How was it possible the Angelus I knew?
It's not the same. She was bringing you 2 ripe and rosy humans, and he just flew out of the sky and
And you ran. I want to die.
Oh. Okay, that's a characteristic of a nice guy, you know, killing his friends. Yeah, trustworthy. I like that man.
What do you want to say?
Me? Nothing. I don't think you should blame yourself or feel guilty for her death.
I don't. I didn't even know who she was when I killed her.
Oh.
You want to talk
She
about...
was the love of your life, and she died. You couldn't die with her. This is gonna be one of those talks where I do all the talking, isn't it? But you have to tell me one thing. You owe me this much. What the hell happened with Holtz?
Cordy, that should not be your priority when we're talking about Miss Bafandra.
He wants Darla. Bit of a thorn in his side. What she and I did to his family. Your wife, she kept repeating on us. I repeated on her a few times myself.
You are going to tell me where she is.
She's with his last.
Shut your mouth, you bloody coward.
Down to Doc.
I'll kill you!
Damn!
I think we lost him.
Freaking arrow on him.
I'll be sure and tell Darla the utter lack of concern you had for her.
Why are people always running off and leaving me? Ugh. Am I a bad bloke?
Well,
I don't think so. Not once you get to know me. I'm gonna need a doctor.
Oh.
Wait a minute, you can't go in there.
It's all right, Sandy. I go through this every month, just like a woman.
What?
The cure. You aware of the price?
The cure to, like, becoming human? Is this what we're doing?
Too much.
Okay. Is this what we're setting up? I mean, Angel's gonna be very happy to know that there's a cure. Hi! Okay, good to know he's still here.
When's it gonna show?
Anytime now.
You youngsters want to button it up. I'm trying to enjoy the show here. It's real music.
Okay, Pops.
Oh, they're still clapping. Oh! It's that man!
I'm not dealing with the bloodsuckers
Is it?
around.
Angel's not here.
Merle? Is that Merle?
Tick-tock, Merle.
Yeah! Okay.
The price is gonna change.
Really?
Yeah. Hey. Hey. He's alive. Wes and Gunn are gonna track him down.
You go home while it's still light out and stay there.
No.
Yes.
I go home. He'll come after me.
But she has a good point, Angel.
I just know I'd be a lot safer by your side rather than all alone at home.
Oba, porra! What the fuck, sir?
Because I had something you could never have.
Angel?
Oh, no, Fred! Back in the room. Girl.
I came out of my room. Small steps, like he said.
Get back in there!
Room and stay there.
Okay, then.
That's terrible timing, Fred. Ow!
I told you
Shut
to.
up and stay here.
Oh, Cordy. Oh, but listen, it's so sweet of her to go after him when she had nothing.
It's all right. It's over.
Okay.
It's not. Y'all, that's clearly not working.
My coat, it's stuck.
Leave it.
What about Fred? Are y'all really just leaving Fred there? What if the maniac goes after her? Hello?
The ring of Amara. When you had that, you were invincible. Does he have a ring?
Nice callback.
Quick.
Subway. Jeez.
Okay, the guy's invincible, but it only lasts for so long, then he dies.
How long?
6 minutes, hours, weeks.
It's good news. All we have to do is wait him out.
What if it's like 6 years? Sir. Ooh. This man's really out to get me. Not a fan. Oh. Okay. Oh, I knew you were gonna do that, motherfucker. I was just waiting for that. Holy.
Is it possible you care about someone who isn't you?
That's a really funny quote.
If you're not the same man who screwed Darla and couldn't care less what happened to her.
You mean back in the day, right?
He has a soul now, and he cares about people.
So you might feel something when I snap her neck.
We don't joke about neck snapping here, sir. Kill this motherfucker.
Woman I love is dead.
Who are you talking about?
Please don't say that.
We try not to say her name too much.
How's that working out for you?
You loved someone.
Yeah.
It would have killed everything in you.
I wouldn't be able to go on living.
You won't. She won't either.
Why would you fucking have a heart-to-heart right before a fucking... Oh! A nice thing, but also why a heart-to-heart in the middle of a fucking battle shit? Like...
You don't know what love is. I lived. You just existed.
I really don't want Angel to, like, engage right now because whatever he says is gonna kill me. Oh, okay, bye. Okay, at least that means Angel's not gonna answer him because I was not ready to see what he was gonna say.
How's Fred?
And I think she'll be coming out of her room any decade now.
And how are you?
I'm okay.
And don't say okay. Angel, please. I know you. Buffy's dead, and...
Stop saying that! Fuck! Cordelia.
I am okay.
Then what's the problem?
That I'm okay. That losing Buffy didn't kill me. That I could deal with it.
Angel, I told you not to speak.
Now she's gone. Forever.
No.
You're a living, breathing,
Well,
good guy who's still fighting and trying to help people. And that's not betraying her, that's honoring her.
You think?
I'm Cordelia. I don't think. I know. Okay.
okay. Oh, I kind of just wanted it to fade out. I want to cry a bit. I need y'all to finish this episode. Oh, Darla?
You can go.
Hi.
Don't be so shy, little one.
Eat him up, Darla. Do it. Kill him.
I thought you might have a surprise or two in you.
Oh no, not the...
Life's full of surprises.
Oh, there we go. Oh shit. Okay. Oh fuck, we're already talking about that? Okay. Very cool ending. Like, very, very cool. I mean, fuck. There is so much to say about this episode right now. But of course we have to talk about that ending. Of course, I know that Angel has a child. I'm like 99% sure his name is Connor. But, oh, it's not even like she's gonna, like, start being pregnant. She's already, like, pretty far along. Like, this woman is about to give birth. So I guess is Connor going to be, like... Because I thought this was, like, a finale thing, you know what I mean? Now I am confused, but excited, because that's a really big twist, and I'm excited we're already talking about it, because oh god, Angel's gonna fucking flip. That's gonna be really, really interesting. I don't remember how Angel reacted to this at all. It was a good one. It was a really, really good one. I mean, the parallels of, like, the current story with the flashbacks, I'm connecting that to Buffy, connecting this guy's mad love for, you know, his blonde girl to Angel's mad love for Buffy, I think was, it was really beautiful. I don't think there's another way to put it. Obviously, you guys know I'm all up in my Angel feelings, as always, but it just resonated a lot with me. I think also what he was saying about it not killing him, I think is also really, really devastating, and in a way, it reminds me again a lot of Forever. You know, I talk about that episode so much because I genuinely think it was one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. I think it explains very well the feeling of having to move on from grief and how hard that is. What this did show me is that I don't think I'm emotionally prepared to head into 601, because if this, like, it was hard enough to see just Angel grieving. I mean, there was also some of Cordy, of course, but it was hard enough to see that. So having to go into Buffy and seeing, you know, Xander and Willow and Giles all grieving, I think is going to be even harder, because it's going to be this, but, like, multiplied by all the freaking Buffy characters who are going to be going through it. I actually really, really want to rewatch this episode. I think this might be one that I'm gonna have to rewatch before I mean, not like before anything specific, but I really want to sit down and watch it again and be able to process it all. I feel like everything that they were saying, all the conversations felt very deep and meaningful and so connected in between all the stories. Like, I would have never thought to make an episode this genius of connecting Buffy to the actual monster of the week in a way that was, like, so subtle, but at the same time was not, you know. And I like that Cordy was the one to talk to Angel about Buffy, because, you know, first of all, her noticing that something's sort of, like, wrong, you know, her being able to read these cues, I think, a lot better than she used to in the past, because I don't think Cordy's ever been the best one when it comes to, like, understanding how other people are feeling, just because she's always so worried about herself, or at least she was. And so I think it's a really nice payoff to see her, like, know Angel so well that she can tell when things are disturbing him, when he wants, you know, when he has to talk and stuff like that, because they kind of are the origin story of Angel. I mean, I'd say that Wes and Gunn did come in pretty early on, but matter of fact is that, like, season 1 episode 1 was the two of them, you know, and Doyle, of course. I miss you, Doyle. I think it was the perfect pairing. I think it was the perfect conversations. I think I need a moment to, like, sit and process all of this. I think it was a very emotional episode. I think that the ways that they were talking about things, you know, I think they talked about Buffy a little bit too much, and that was not okay, because I have feelings, but I do think it was completely necessary. You know, it's such a big loss, and it is so felt that, of course, you need to talk about it. You can't just, like, You know, I say that they talked about it too much, but matter of fact is if they hadn't, I was going to be disappointed. I was going to be like, no, we need to talk about this huge thing that happened. And so I'm glad that we did. So I wonder if this is another one of those things where like I'm going into it thinking, I'm not sure how I feel about this time jump, but maybe once I watch it, I'm going to be like, no, it makes sense. This was the right decision. You know, but I do have a lot of faith in these Buffyverse writers. I think they know exactly how to like tug your heartstrings and just like make you feel. And so I think my biggest concern about them doing this time jump would be that like the loss wouldn't feel as hard as it could, which feels ironic for me to say given the fact that like I don't want to feel this loss. It was very, very hard to watch the season 5 finale. And, you know, of course I would love to avoid it, but at the same time, I feel like what this show does so well is like really making you feel. I think this was a super, super strong season 3 intro. I think it's setting up I'm assuming really strongly the plot of the season, which is obviously Darla's baby. We did a good job seeing Lauren. I wasn't 100% sure if he was going to be in the intro because I honestly don't remember if he ever did make it to the intro. But, you know, because the last 4 episodes were so Lauren focused, I was like, I wonder if we're going to be taking some time off away from him. But I'm very glad that he was here in episode 1. It seems like his bar, what's the name? Caritas, I think. Seems like Caritas is already up and running. So good for him, you know, being able to fix all of that. It was really fun to see, what's the name of the little demon? Holy fuck, my memory, sweetie. I'm glad that we saw him because he's like an old character that like we've seen a few times, and it was also fun to see him interact with somebody else that's not Angel, you know, given their backstory and I guess the fact that he's probably not the biggest Angel fan. So it was nice to see these characters that we know that like, you know, bring us back to connect us to the other seasons of Angel while also showing us new characters like Fred. And again, I feel like it's just so nice. You know, when we saw Darla in the flashbacks, I was like, I'm so happy that she's still here because I feel like the beginning of season 2 was very Darla focused. I do think we like deviated a little bit from that by the end of the season. Obviously, we had different concerns, and especially with Pylea. I mean, we have to talk about Fred. She's so great, and I really, really love her, and it's really interesting to see sort of like I was saying, she's quite different than what I remembered. I think because we are still in like the very beginning of her story and her having to like get used to society again. I feel like that is actually really, really interesting, you know, because she does seem like a little bit out of it, you know, she doesn't seem like she's fitting in exactly. I think that there's a lot that she has to like process and understand. Coming back to a world that she hasn't been in so many years, I think is something that's like obviously going to take some adaptation. So it is pretty, like, I kind of like it though. I feel like it's pretty fun to see how like, she's kind of a little bit crazy, you know, but in the best of ways. She's like, you know, just a really, really interesting character. I vividly remembered all her writings on the wall because I remember that at a certain point when I was writing like a pilot for a show that I created, I was going through like the brainstorming process, and then I actually did that in a different way than her, but it made me feel like I was a little bit kind of going crazy like Fred. So my wall had like a bunch of Post-its for a little while. And I remember that made me feel kind of Fred-like. So I very much remember her writings on the wall. I feel like it's so fun. I love that Angel was like, what happens when you run out of space? I was like, sir, you have an entire hotel. If she runs out of space, she can just change rooms. This is not a big deal. Not a big deal. But I do, get what he's saying and like the bigger sense of things. I do think that it is important for her to like slowly start getting back into society. And I do think it's quite interesting. I feel like the storyline hits quite interestingly to watch in like the COVID era that we're having, because I feel like, you know, so many of us, at least me, I spent most of COVID, you know, like not leaving the house at all. And so it does feel kind of weird to go back to like, and this is this is actually a really bad comparison because of course Fred is going through something completely different, but I kind of understand the feeling of like having the world be a little bit so different and having to go back to like socializing with people and like, what do you mean I have to go into an office every day and those kind of feelings, which is obviously, like I said, very different experience. But I feel like in a way I did make those connections of like, I can understand why her room has started feeling so comfortable because that's sort of like what she's used to and it's safe there. whereas having to go outside into the real world, it can be scary, you know? Something that did stand out to me, and maybe this is because I know that Fred does have parents, because I think I remember them coming in at a certain point and her having to like sort of make the choice of going back with them or staying with the crew. But it did kind of surprise me a little bit that she hasn't reached out to anyone that she knows from like her life, just because I figured that like if I was gone for 5 years, I think one of my first instincts would be to like reach out to the people that I know. A part of me understands that like maybe this is like her trauma speaking. Maybe she's not even thinking about that. She can't fathom the idea of going back to these people after all this time. But I do think it has stood out to me that the squad, with her being there for 3 months inside that room, didn't think to like look up her family, look up her friends, see if there's any, you know, connection or somebody that they could bring. And not without her consent. I do think this is something we have to talk to Fred about, you know, but being like, you know, Fred, we did some research. We found out like your parents are still alive and we think that it would be good for you to connect with them, you know, so that she could sort of start regaining her life again. So I don't know if this is going to change now that Angel's back and maybe he's going to be the one who sparks that thought. You know, but so far I think it's been interesting to see that journey. You know, I like that she needs Angel to come back and make her feel safe enough to leave that room. I think that's pretty sweet. I do think they have quite a good relationship. I think it's interesting that the squad just sort of like let her have her own space, which is very valid and I think nice of them. But I like that Angel's come back to sort of like push her outside of her comfort zone. I also think that's necessary. You know, I think we need to find a balance in between both of them, like respecting people's boundaries while also sometimes trying to push them a little bit outside their comfort zones for things that might benefit them. What else is there to say about Fred? I love it. I think Amy Acker does such a great job. And oh my God, I'm going to become even more insufferable than usual in my videos now that Fred is here, because there's going to be a lot of Amy Acker praise. I mean, how can there not be? But when you compare like this episode and like Fred's facial expressions and just the way that she uses her body, you know, like her excitement and stuff like that, it's such a big contrast to characters like, I don't want to say the name in case the name of the character is a spoiler, but like her character in Person of Interest, for example. I feel like she has such a big range, and it's really, you know, because I have watched a lot of Amy Acker cinematography, to put it this way. I think it's really, really cool to see her play this character like Fred, who's so like bubbly and like, you know, excited, and I think it just kind of just resonates a lot with the vibe that she gives me in real life. So I think she's doing a great job with Fred. She makes her a very likable, quirky character that just like that I would love to have on my screen 24/7. So good job, Amy Acker. Who would have guessed that you would do an amazing job in this show? I would. That's why I watched it. I also want to talk about Cordy because there was something this episode that definitely brought back some of like my Angel memories. And this is the part where I get a little bit confused and I'm like, this happened, right? And I think it did. I remember Cordy's visions getting to a point where she felt them physically. And what brought back this memory was her, I think, looking at the mirror. I think that that's how we saw like her visions becoming physical, right? I think I remember Cordy looking in the mirror and seeing that her back was scratched, or it was something like that, or it was a cut in her back. I think something from the vision that was translating to her real life, I think. And so I thought this is where this episode was going for a second. I was like, oh, is this the storyline that we're doing? Because I don't think that that was like an overarching theme of the season. I think that was a little bit more of like an episode, like Monster of the Week. So I do think it was a nice setup, you know, but it was also super heartbreaking seeing her lay down on the ground and just cry. I would like us to never do that again, like ever. Never make Cordelia cry. Just don't, bro. Just don't. I did kind of wait and like think like, oh, does this mean that like Fred's maybe gonna like come out of her room to comfort her or something? That would have been sweet. I hope that the squad notices how much this is taking a toll on Cordy though. Like I know that she does a pretty good job of keeping things to herself so that she doesn't worry people, and I think that that's like a problem at some points because I want her to be able to rely on them. And I mean, Dennis, such a good roommate. I mean, I love my roommates. They're cool and all, but they don't like prepare a bath for me. I mean, that would be a little bit weird. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But what I mean is that like, he's just such a great supportive person. And like, you know, he just does so much for Cordelia, and I really appreciate that. I feel like that's such an interesting dynamic, to have a character that we don't exactly see, but that we care about so deeply because he's just so nice, and takes care of, like, you know, one of our favorite characters. So how can we not love him? But it is interesting when we have no backstory for him, kind of. I mean, we do have a little. I lied. We do have his backstory, but like, we don't know him that well. You know, he's like a character, but at the same time, is he? Yes, he is. Anyways, and talking about Cordelia, I do think it's worth mentioning that something that I thought was interesting was seeing how Angel, like, how the loss of Buffy might have affected Angel in the way that he treats Cordy. Because I thought it was interesting that Cordy was, like, you know, asking to help out, and Angel was very against it. I feel like that was definitely sort of a little bit of his grief talking, in the sense of, like, I've already lost, you know, Buffy. I obviously can't go through another loss like this. So I wonder if Angel's going to be a little bit more closed off in that sense, and he's going to, like, be very protective about all of the squad and try and do things solo a little bit more because he doesn't want to put them in danger. I feel like that is a storyline that would make sense, but it's also very sad. You know, I think Cordy was actually making some really good points. Do not send her alone to her house. That is the recipe for disaster, you know, if somebody's going after them. But it's also heartbreaking. Like, he didn't even care. He was like, I'm not even going to think about that. You know, he just, like, he wanted to keep her safe. And I think that that's very sweet. But I do think that's very, like, a response to the grief of having lost Buffy. I feel like Angel and Cordy's relationship this episode was definitely one of the strongest parts about it. I think it was the perfect duo to focus on, you know, because it was also fun to get to see Gunn and Wes, you know, bonding and I guess getting along usually better than they used to, because I feel like they have a lot of, like, disagreements and stuff, but I feel like they were actually getting along pretty well this episode. And then, of course, just getting to focus on Buffy and, stop talking about Buffy. I was gonna say getting to focus on Angel and Cordy is good, but anyways, I'm not thinking about Buffy. I'm not thinking about Buffy. I'm not thinking about Buffy. Another character that I want to talk about is Darla. I mean, I mentioned this briefly, but I'm just so glad. Like, I was so happy when I saw Darla in the flashback, because I was like, Julie Benz, I love you. I'm so glad you're still here and, like, still agreeing to do these Angel episodes. And then because we saw her in the flashback, I felt like that was just like how we started seeing Darla in season 1 flashbacks, I think, to ultimately lead to her coming back into the show in the finale. I thought we were doing a similar thing of, like, we were going to spend the first half of the season doing some Darla flashbacks so that, like, we still remember her and know that she's into the show, so that by the middle of the season they were going to be like, boom, Darla's, you know, back and she is pregnant and stuff like that. That's exciting because that means I don't have to wait that long for a payoff. We're just going to have that pretty soon because that child is about to come out any moment now. Talking more about vampires too, they were talking about, well, not vampires, but they were talking about Holt, right? I think is his name. And that sounded so familiar. And this is the part where maybe I'm going to be asking a stupid question. Have we met him? Or... because I don't know why that name sounds so familiar. And a part of me is like, wait, maybe this could be because of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because I watched that show so much. And they have a character named Holt. But Holt, I feel like it actually sounded familiar in the context of the Buffyverse. And so is Holt a character that we have met? Because if not, I'm starting to think that maybe he is a character that we're still going to be talking about. Something that I thought was interesting about the actual vampires in this episode was to see that, like, demon doctor who was able to make, you know, like, sort of like alter vampire genetics or something. Like, he was really able to switch, make him, like, invincible for a while. I think that's an interesting concept, to know that we can push those boundaries of what vampires can and can't do. Granted, okay, there was a pretty big cost, but I wonder, like, if they can do that, I wonder if they'll eventually be able to get to the point of medicine where they can do more things that maybe don't have this much of a cost of, like, his life. Maybe they're going to be able to, like, make vampires stronger and stuff like that. I think this goes back a little bit to, like, the initiative idea of it all, of, like, how hard can we push the, like, I guess, medicine, science, technology into making people stronger or even weaker in the case of, like, Spike and the Chip, for example. So I thought that was pretty interesting. This is not where I thought the story was going. Because for some reason, when he said something about, like, wanting to die, I was like, oh, he wants to be a human. We know another character in this show who wants to be a human, Angel. But I think it does make more sense to have him actually just become a powerful vampire and then die. more sense than making him into a human. But I definitely had some thoughts there, and I thought I was curious. It made me curious to know if Angel's going to go see this doctor at any point. Something else that I thought was really fun this episode is that I actually really, really enjoyed the sort of like subway fights, because I really, first of all, enjoyed the setting. I don't know why, but it felt very cool. I kind of like when we're able to like bring the city even more into the show, because sometimes we're so like, I don't know, in Sunnydale or in LA, but like, I don't know, it felt like seeing the subway made me feel like we were actually in LA. And like I don't know, it reminds me that there are other people in the show that are like, you know, maybe just humans who are like trying to get to work, and, you know, the vampires are like out to get them in the subway. I don't know, I felt like it was kind of nice to see that. I mean, I guess I feel bad for the civilians or whatever, but like, whatever. It was just a cool setting that for some reason reminded me a lot of like Fool for Love, you know, because it kept bringing back in my head the flashbacks of Spike killing the Slayer in I think it was New York City, right? Like subway. So I thought that was cool. I feel like this guy was giving such a, in a way, beautiful and heartbreaking speech. And I thought what was so interesting is that he was not talking about Buffy at all. And Angel, like I was saying, I was waiting for him to answer, and I felt like his answer was going to kill me. And I thought it was so interesting that he kind of didn't, right? He was kind of just listening and kind of feeling, and I could understand how Angel was feeling at that moment and how he didn't need to say it. And I think that's always really impressive when you're able to do that. Make a scene where you know exactly how he's feeling and you don't even need to say the words. You know, you can do that through another character. It's very, very deep, very freaking hard to write, and they did an amazing job. And I like that even though he didn't necessarily answer him at that point, I think there was an answer that came a little bit later when he's talking to Cordy, because, you know, I think it's, you know, a lot of the talk surrounding grief is that it's okay not to be okay, which it very much is. But I do think it's also an important point to bring up the fact that, like, it's also okay to be okay. I mean, at some point you're going to have to be okay. You can't be stuck in grief forever. That's very hard. And so I like this idea of getting to see Angel not being stuck in this, because I think it would be very depressing. I think Angel's already a nostalgic character. I think seeing him be stuck in this grief forever would be unbearable for him. So I'm actually very, very happy for him that he was able to like take those 3 months for himself, which I think was necessary in helping him overcome this. But now I'm glad that he actually seems to be pretty okay. I mean, of course, there are going to be things that remind him of Buffy, and I think this episode was a huge reminder of that. And of course, it's going to be hard for him to like come back to the squad and back to like normality, I would say. But I'm glad that he seems to be able to do that. I think that was a very good way to end the episode, because that's not where I thought they were going, but I think it's necessary. Yeah, those were most of my thoughts in the episode. I think it had one of the strongest writings of the Buffyverse, and I think the writers did something really, really great, which is that the whole episode, I think, was a lot about subtext. I mean, there was a lot of moments where it was very, like, more on the nose. Like, they did talk about Buffy, they did say her name a couple of times, but I think that the whole storyline of the Monster of the Week was very much written in subtext, and I think it worked so well, and it was really, really well done. Very moving, and I think I like that. I like that it was an emotional episode that wasn't a sad episode. We were still able to laugh, and we were still able to like have fun with the story. But I like that it was also touching and very moving for me in many different scenes, because every moment they talked about Buffy was, I think, extremely well thought out. So I really think this was quite the best possible way to start the season. This was one of the strongest episodes we've ever seen of Angel. I mean, it had everything. It had the plot twists, it had the depth and the emotion and the possible almost tears, you know, while also having a really compelling monster and the Angel flashbacks, which have sort of become more and more important. So overall, really, really strong episode. Let's read the title of the next episode so that I can go into sort of some predictions, which I'm gonna have to work on. Okay. The name of the next episode is called That Vision Thing. Oh, okay. I think I'm right. I think this is the episode where we're going to be talking about Cordy having these visions manifest themselves in a little bit of a stronger and more physical way. And I think that starts with like a scratch. I don't remember if it gets a lot more serious than that. I don't know if her life actually starts getting in danger, but I do think I remember her just looking in the mirror and there being scratches, I think is what stands out to me about that episode. And overall, you know, I was kind of thinking that we were going to have Angel go into Buffy to help bring Buffy back. But that's not where it seems to be going. So, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm excited to keep watching, a little bit nervous, but like I said, super excited. It's been really, I think this was such a great episode. I'm like in an Angel high right now. So I thank you all so much for watching this with me. I hope you had fun. And I will see you guys in the next episode where hopefully Miss Cordelia will be just fine by the end of the episode. I'll see y'all then. Big hugs and thank you so much for watching.